right, welcome everybody. This is Lorette, and of course I want to know who is joining us. Where are you calling in from? We've got Julie in Australia, welcome. Olivia in Phoenix. We've got Janine in Wisconsin. Hopefully I know you were working with Raina with your website stuff, so hopefully that is all straightened out. Annie, welcome from the UK. Always good to see you on here, Annie. Welcome. All right, who else do we have on here? We've got Colin in Toronto. Welcome, Colin. We also have some shy people. We've got Helen, Jessica, Julie. We've got Marie and Paul and Tina and Josh. Paul is in LA. Welcome. We've got people from all over, a bunch of different time zones. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Now, today's session is on productivity tips. Now, I've done something like this before, and it was always a huge hit. So that's why I wanted to bring it back, because I think that, a lot of people need this. You can teach as many strategies and things that you should do, but if you don't have a good connection with how to be more productive in your day and how to get more things done and how to be more efficient, then it really means nothing. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of this presentation. I know I personally got a lot out of this presentation. A lot of times, you can say things and tell people do things, but you don't always do it, right? And so this is a good reminder for myself as well. So you guys ready to learn about productivity tips to get more out of your day? You guys ready? You ready? Ready to be more productive and get more done? And I'm sure everybody can use this, right? You guys think you can use this information? I know it's beneficial, especially if I know a lot of people here are brand new to working on their own, right? They're brand new to having their own business, being an entrepreneur. And when you are doing that, you have to be able to manage your time, because you don't have anybody telling you this is the deadline. We don't have anybody, giving you an outline. You're making it yourself. You're your own boss. So with that in mind, you have to be the one that sets your own goals, that sets your own rules and parameters and things to get things done. Right? So Julie was saying, yes, she needs to be more efficient. It's easy to get distracted. It is very easy to get distracted. And if you are still working, let's say you are working a 9 to 5, you need these types of tips and strategies in order to make the most out of your time, because you don't have a lot of time, because you're already working during the day. So you have a limited amount of time. So you have to make sure that that time is used wisely. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, the first tip is to set weekly goals. Now, it's very important to set goals because you need something to reach for, right? You need something to reach for. So for example, we just got off of a call with our JV manager, and we were going over her goals. The goals for the income goals for the month, the goals for how many JVs we need to get connected with, how many JVs we need to do on our second tier. And she has numbers to go off of. She has data. She has, I need to make X amount of dollars this month in order to reach my goals, right? You have to have goals for yourself. If you don't have goals for yourself, then you never really know if you're achieving what you're doing. You have to have an end result. That's something that's really, so for example, athletes, they set goals like runners. They have times that they want to beat. I grew up playing golf. I had scores that I always wanted to beat, but you have to set yourself goals at the beginning of the week. It has to be a path. And when you do this, it helps you feel more productive as well, or else you feel like you're just working aimlessly. Like, what did I accomplish this week? Right? So make sure you set weekly goals, and how you set those goals is up to you. You can write it on a piece of paper. You can put it up on a board. Like I have a whiteboard, and I love to put my income goals on my whiteboard so I see it and I look at it every day. And I go through the day and I write my income in there, and I can see where I am and if I'm going to reach my goals. If I'm not going to reach it, I need to ramp it up. And it's a visual representation of where I am every day so I can meet my goals. The next thing is to schedule everything. Now, as I'm going through this presentation, I welcome your feedback, right? I want to hear your feedback, or maybe you have some tips or strategies on something that I'm specifically talking about. But the next thing is to schedule everything. Now, how many of you have caught yourself going back and forth, like opening tabs in your email, going back and forth, maybe checking some social media. And I know you've done that, right? I know you've done that. Julie, you've done that, right? Yes. Yeah, Colin says me. Yeah, me too. I know I'm guilty. But what to do to help you with that is to create a crafted to-do list, right? When you have a to-do list, you have something to follow. So now you can check off things one at a time, right? For me, I love to put everything on my calendar so I know what I need to be doing at certain times of the day. Some of my staff laughs at me because like today I have a doctor's appointment. I have the doctor's appointment on there. I have to go pick up my daughter. I have that on there. And then here, of course, I have this on here. I have all my meetings, everything scheduled out for the day. So that doesn't distract me from mindlessly wandering. So make sure you schedule everything. The next thing is time blocking. I love this. So like I said, it kind of goes in with the other one. But time blocking gives you the opportunity to make things in chunks. So for example, I will block everything and I'll say, okay, for the next hour, I'm working on emails for the next promotion. And that's all I focus on, right? Blocking your time is going to make you more efficient. Sometimes my team or Alicia gets frustrated. She's like, Lorette, let's talk about this. I'm like, I can't. I'm working on emails and I'm working on emails for the next hour. So don't ask me anything, don't call me. I'm blocking my time because I need to focus on this particular task. That's how you're going to get things done, right? So time blocking is very important. Put things on your calendar and time block, okay? You guys taking notes? Yeah. All right. Time blocking. The next one is managing distractions. Now, this is, of course, another thing that is very hard to do, but you need to be able to manage your distractions. So schedule in time for it. So for example, like if you have a lot of emails, schedule in your time to check emails. Like for me, for social media, I get so many social media messages and notifications, but I don't look at it usually during the day. You'll notice that if you're in some of our Facebook groups, you'll notice that I pop on at night. So usually when I'm finished with all my work, I'm finished with my meetings, I will go when I'm done and I'm like winding down, I'll be like, okay, let me go on social media now. And you'll notice like within like 2 hours, I answer everything. Or like within an hour, you'll see all these notifications from Lorette because that is my blocked time for social media. And because social media, if I'm looking at it throughout the day, it distracts me, right? So I block that off. It's usually at night and I go through everything and you'll see all my social media messages and updates at night. You'll notice that. And you'll probably laugh at it and be like, oh, there, Lorette, she's blocking her social media time. But yeah, that's what I do. So let's see. Julie was saying, having the components ready so the chunk of time block isn't taking up with minor details for the setup for the steps within the task. Right, exactly. So when you're doing your time block, make sure you're ready for it and it's an efficient use of that block of time. Okay, now the next one is planning your day. So, and hey, David, I see that you just joined. I know you always have great feedback on this, but we're talking about 20 productivity tips for your day. So now we're on number 5. The 5th one is planning your day. This is something that makes a big difference. The better you plan, the more efficient that you're going to be, right? So I always love to plan my day the night before. So what I do is I am the traditional paper and pencil. I have a notebook and I write out my tasks and my to-do list for the next day, and my next day is planned. And things that I need to accomplish. When I don't do that, I really feel like I'm all fish out of water. I'm lost. Like I'm aimlessly like, what am I supposed to do today? Right? But I love to plan it the day before, and then I can go through it and I check off what I get done. It makes things efficient, makes things organized and less stressful. So I'm never like, oh no, I forgot to do that. Oh shoot, I have to do this, because I have it all mapped out, right? So definitely spend some time planning your day. Sometimes people don't do this because it takes time. It really does. but the more you take the time ahead of time is going to help you in the long run. Okay, so planning your day. Now, is anybody else like me with the paper and pencil? Do you like to write it out in a notebook? I know I am. I'm just a traditional. Yes. Yes, Julie was saying, yeah, Jean says you're a list girl. Yes, I'm definitely. So Julie, I love Julie's comment. She says positive feedback to yourself when checking off the tasks are done. I love looking at my piece of paper at the end of the day and seeing all the stuff that I accomplished. You know, Alicia laughs at me because if I forget to put something on the list and I did it, I will write it in there just for the purpose of crossing it off. Because I love to see that crossed off on my day, and I feel and I see and I'm like, I accomplished a lot today, and that is a big deal. Okay, so yes, always giving your positive self when checking off tasks. Annie says she's old school as well, pen and paper for notes. Yep, I have all these different notebooks. So my friends know to buy me, like Alicia and some of my colleagues, they know that as a gift, like they buy me notebooks or little fancy pens, you know, things that I use. So I have all these pretty little notebooks, and I have all these fancy little pens and papers and erasers and little tab things, you know, for my old school way of planning my days. Yes, and then Julie was saying the tasks on the list that weren't completed need to be forwarded to the next day. Yes, exactly. So that is important as well. Okay, so now the next one is waking up at the same time. Now, I do this already, right? So every morning I'm up at either 5:30, 6 o'clock. I have a 2-year-old, so she comes in my room smiling every morning. Hi, mommy. So I can't help it. She's my alarm. But I wake up the same time every morning. Now, the key to this one is saying that sometimes on the weekends, you'll say you want to sleep in. Now, studies have shown that they don't recommend that because it throws off your rhythm, right? It throws off what you've already ingrained for you for that week, every day getting up at the same day. And then Monday, it's usually harder for you to get up because you've already slept in on Saturday and Sunday. So if you need to get extra sleep, if you're trying to catch up on your sleep, go to bed earlier instead of delaying your wake up time. So this was a tip from this is a research tip on making sure that you continue and you stay consistent on your wake up time, because that makes a difference with your day, right? So it makes a difference on how your day is productive. Once again, if you need extra sleep, go to sleep earlier, but don't sleep in. Yes, Julie, 2 years old. She is a bundle of energy. David says, I recently learned to make a list twice a day, first in the morning and second in the evening. It helps to keep you focused and reprioritize based on urgency. I love that, David. That is a great idea. Good, thank you. All right, the next one, don't rush in the morning. Now, I know some of us have to be guilty of this. I know I am sometimes, especially with getting my kids ready in the morning. You know, you're rushing, you're going out the door, but that really messes up your whole day. So make sure, like we talked about ahead of time, like we talked about in some of the other ones, plan your days ahead of time. So the night before, you need to plan the next day. So for me, like usually my rushing is because of the kids. So therefore, you know, I make sure that I have their lunch ready, I have their uniform set out, like I have everything that they need so the morning is smooth. I even started making like some pre-made breakfasts. Like I'll make breakfast burritos and freeze them. So it's easy to just take it out, put it in the microwave, there, boom, there's the breakfast. So I've tried to do everything I can to make the mornings as smooth as possible. So it's not rushing, because it does throw you off when you're running around in the morning. So do whatever you need to do the night before to make sure that your morning routine is not rushed, right? Because when you start the day off in a frenzied state of mind, you're not giving your brain time to decompress, rest, and prepare for the day. Instead, you're pumping it with adrenaline and you can crash, right? And you've already started off on a bad note. So make sure that your morning is not rushed. Whatever you need to do in order to make that happen, then do it. Okay? Julie says she's not a morning person. She's not rushing. All right. So the next one is designate mornings as me time. So if you can fit it in, you've got to designate some time for yourself, right? So designating, and they're saying that the mornings is the best time to do that. You know, even if it can't be 100% to yourself. So for example, for me, I like to go on morning walks with my 2-year-old. We go in a stroller. This morning we did it. Now it's not 100% me because she's with me, but that is my time. I love the morning. Like we get up, as soon as we get up, straight go for a walk. And that is, you know, my little decompress. I don't look at my email. I don't even touch my phone. I just go. And that is my little me time. So see how you can incorporate some me time into your morning, even if it's a little bit of time. Maybe you just some meditation. Maybe you just sit down and drink your coffee by yourself, you know, whatever you need to do. But that's a good way to start your morning. Okay. And this one, don't tackle the easy stuff first. Now, this may be tempting to people because there's always low-hanging fruit in what you need to do, right? So maybe you need to, I don't know, some of your daily tasks or your life tasks or whatever. But they say that the morning is the best time that most people's brain is fresh and ready to go. So that is when you need to tackle the harder things that you need to get done. So maybe it's a complicated project, maybe it's something that you got to, you know, do for yourself personally, but do the hardest things in the beginning, because as the day progresses, you tend to fade away, right? So at the end of the day, 5 o'clock comes and you're like, oh gosh, I got to do this big old project. Well, by that time, you're already tapped out, right? So the concept here is to do the hard stuff early in the morning. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that, David? Do you do the hard stuff in the morning? Because by the end of the day, you're tapped out. I know for a fact Alicia is like that. By time like dinner time, she's like, yeah, I can't function anymore. But sometimes because of the kids, a lot of times I work better at night because during the day, you know, I'm with them, I'm doing all that stuff. At night, they're all asleep, the house is quiet. And that's sometimes when I do my hardest work, but you know, it really depends on you and how you work the best. But this is the recommendation. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so David says he agrees. In the morning, you're fresh, you get more done. All right, now the next one is stop multitasking. Who is guilty at multitasking? Trying to get a bunch of different things done at the same time, right? But a lot of times that makes you less productive. So let's say you're doing a bunch of different things. And so you're doing 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this. But then it's hard to accomplish anything because you're doing a little of everything. So multitasking, you may think that it's beneficial, but a lot of times it's not, right? But of course it depends on what it is, depends on what you're doing. But multitasking has shown in studies that it's actually not beneficial. And this goes along with what we were talking about before with like doing the time blocking and taking away distractions. So multitasking, depending on what you're doing, is usually not a good thing to do. So Janine says me, right? Annie says me. Let's see. David says some managers force you to multitask. It spreads your brain activity and tires you out. It really does. So try, if you are guilty of multitasking, really try the time blocking technique, saying, okay, for this hour, I'm doing this. For this hour, I'm doing this. And you'll get more things done. It just makes sense logically as well. If you're doing 10 things with 30 minutes on each thing, how are you going to accomplish all that? You're not, right? So stop multitasking. Yes, the Pomodoro Technique. David, this is a great, so I do this, I try to do it. I believe it's 25 minutes, right? You work for 25 minutes and then you stop for 3 minutes or 5 minutes and then you do it again. So 25 minutes and you stop for Google it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's like 25 minutes, 3 minutes. And it just helps you, first of all, when you give yourself that time block of that 25 minutes, you get so much stuff done, right? Because you're like, oh, I got 25 minutes, go. For example, when I was going to go on vacation, and before I went on vacation, I was so productive because I was like, I don't want to work while I'm on vacation. I got to outsource this, get this done. And I was so productive because I had this deadline, this goal, but that helped me. But definitely do that time blocking and stop multitasking. The next thing that they recommend is don't work through lunch. And I know that as an entrepreneur, I've been guilty of this. I sit at my computer and I don't move, right? That's not good. And that goes with what David was saying with the Pomodoro technique, is that you've got to give yourself time to recharge, right? So the point here is when it's lunchtime, get up. Even if you're at the office and you brought your lunch, that's fine, but get up, maybe go sit outside. I like to go sit at the park. Is something that I do a lot. My kids, we go on picnics at the park, right? And even sometimes I'll bring my laptop or whatever, but just getting out of your environment, taking a break, recharging, and don't sit at your computer nonstop all day, right? And it really helps, like Julie says, yeah, you need to take breaks from the screen, right? You have to. You need to take breaks from your screen. It's not good for your eyes. It's not good for a lot of things. So get up, move around. Don't work through lunch, okay? The next one are power naps. Does anybody take naps? David, do you take naps? So they're saying here that it's recommended to, Julie, do you take naps? To take short little power naps in the late afternoon. It gives you a little burst of energy and can help you become more productive. I personally, it's hard for me to take a nap because it's hard for me to turn my brain off. But let's see, my break from the screen, you can wearing a track in the floor. So Julie says her break from the screen, she heads to the kitchen. There's a track going to the floor. Yes, so David was going on the lunch. He says lunch helps you physically recharge. Eating at your desk keeps your anxiety levels up. Yes, so don't eat at your desk. Julie says, yes, Nana naps, drowsy in the afternoons, yes. Olivia says that she does take naps around 2 to 3 for about 20 minutes. That's great. Yeah, that's what they recommend, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, yes. Julie. Annie says, if you take a nap, I feel more tired when I wake up. Now, Annie, they say that maybe your nap is too long. Like it should be just a short 15, 20 minutes. I think because if you go past that, now you're going into a deeper sleep. So are your naps longer than 15 to 20 minutes, Annie? So maybe try to make them shorter, and that's supposed to help you. Okay? Food coma after dinner. Yes. Okay, your naps are maybe half an hour. So see if you can, it recommends 15 minutes. So maybe make a 15-minute nap and see if that makes a difference. Because I think when you go past it, you go into a deeper sleep and then it's harder to get up. So try that, okay? So David was saying his energy levels does drop in the afternoon. He either has a Red Bull or a Power Malt. Okay, my energy levels drop in the late part of the day as well. So because I know that, I save things that don't really require my brain. So for example, if I need to do laundry or if I need to do, something like that, I'll leave that for the afternoon because I know my brain is fried, like by the end of the day. So I'll leave things that don't require a lot of brain cells in the end of the day because I need my brain cells during the day. All right. Now, the next thing is get your meetings done more quickly. So one thing that frustrates me more than anything are having meetings that have no agenda and just are like chit-chatting. Like, it really annoys me. That's one of my pet peeves. So whenever I have meetings, I always want to make sure, that you have an agenda. Now, I'm not sure how many of you guys have meetings yet because you don't really have, many of you are just getting started. You don't really have your teams, but I know you've been in meetings from past jobs. And I know you've probably experienced great meetings and horrible meetings, right? Now, I'm sure you can take lessons from each one of them. I know I've had some amazing bosses that I've learned great things about meetings, and I've had some horrible ones as well. Now, one thing that I always do when I have meetings, I always want to have an agenda, and I always want to, stick to that agenda. Of course, it goes off every now and then. And then I always, at the end of the meetings, always have action plans for whatever we discussed, and that's going to go over for the next meeting. sometimes we do have a little chit chat in there, but I make sure that, okay, this is a 30-minute meeting. Let's do 30 minutes. Here's the agenda. Let's get it done. And meetings can drain you and can be a waste of time if they're not efficiently done properly. David says meetings can waste of time if not managed properly. Definitely. He had a horrible 2.5-hour meeting yesterday. Now, was it 2.5 hours because there was no structure? People were just chit-chatting. Sometimes the person in charge of the meeting is not what's the word, is not controlling it. Like if something goes off topic, whoever's in control of that meeting needs to bring them back, right? Okay, so let's get back to the topic and discuss what we were talking about. Because a lot of times, just like anything else, you can wander off, and that happens in meeting. So when you're controlling the meeting, you have to make sure to keep people on target. Yeah, so 2.5-hour meeting is painful, especially if it has no outcome to it, or it doesn't have something that's going to move you forward. So at the end of the meeting, you have to make sure that it was productive and there's action steps going forward. Okay, the next one is disconnecting. Now, this is hard for me, and I bet it's hard for you, David. But disconnecting. So, when you are working Monday to Friday, you're engrossed in your work, right? But Saturdays and Sundays are supposed to be a time for you to disconnect. Now, for me personally, I cannot 100% disconnect. I can't do it. It stresses me out even more if I'm 100% disconnected. But I do set times on those weekends that I do work, right? So I'll be like, okay, from the morning until 12 o'clock, I'm, doing whatever, hanging out with the kids or whatever, doing something else. And then between, these hours, I'm checking emails or I'm following up with stuff. So I do carve out time in the weekends. For me, I just have to. I can't 100% disconnect. But the point is, you have to give yourself time to disconnect. You can't work all the time. You're going to burn yourself out, right? So make sure that you spend some time to disconnect. Okay. Let's see. The next one, this one's kind of funny, but stop black. Yeah, so David, he was saying work-life balance is important. It is important. And sometimes it's really hard for an entrepreneur because an entrepreneur is literally always working, right? You have your phone, you have your laptop, and it's different when it's your business. When it's your business, sometimes you can't stop because you're always trying to, because you have so much invested in it. It's yours versus somebody else's business. But I'm telling you, when you disconnect, it's going to help you do even better in your business. So find the time to disconnect. Now, this next one is stop black hole browsing. So, the example given is like you click on something and you read an article. Then it says, oh, look at this related article. And you click on that article. Oh, look at this related video. And you click on that video. And you just keep going down this black hole, right? So, one of those things that can be very counterproductive, right? When you so stop just meaninglessly wandering through the internet black hole. Go back to what you were supposed to do and focus on that. So that's going to help. Remember, we talk about your to-do list and your time blocking. So all those things are going to help you from mindlessly wandering, because it happens. I know I've done it. It definitely happens. So yes, the black hole sucks your time. And whoever's creating this trail, the related articles, this is doing a fantastic job. But you need to be strong enough to not go down that rabbit hole, right? So stop doing that. The next one, social media. So we all know social media can be another place that's draining you, right? So even if you don't mean to click on things, you click on it. You find yourself scrolling through stuff. And I'm not telling you to stop social media, but it shouldn't be, especially if you're trying to work and get things accomplished. As an entrepreneur, you need to get things done. And social media can definitely be a black hole. Social media is something that we use in our business. So of course you need it for business purposes and for personal purposes. but set yourself blocks of time of when you're checking social media. Don't check it just all day aimlessly. Don't do that. Like I was saying, one thing that I do is I usually am on social media at night. You know, after I finish my hard tasks and my meetings and stuff, then I go and I spend my time on social media at night. So, you know, find out how, you know, but it depends on how you're using it, of course. So I would use it, you know, if I'm doing it for work purposes, I'm in there in the mornings posting things or doing stuff. But definitely set aside a time for you to use social media. Okay. So David is saying use social media, don't consume it. Yes. The next one is stop checking emails as they come in. I get so many emails and we get so many tickets to the ticket desk. But if you're constantly, unless that's your job, unless you're a customer service agent, then you should be checking it every minute. But if you're not, then it's not something that you should be doing and checking as soon as your email dings or as soon as you get a notification. You know, once again, this is something that you should do for time blocking. Set aside a time when you're answering emails. So, and when you do that, answer all of them. So for example, you know, we have a tour company and I help my husband with the emails and stuff for the reservations. And I block off a time for that. And when I'm doing it, that's all I do. I'm like, okay, for the next, you know, until I answer all of them, I'm not coming out of this email and I get it done, right? So I don't do it as every second that it pops up. So it just helps with the time blocking as well, and complete it at that time. We have one of our friends, Jeff. He is the most organized person and on top of things. I was sitting next to him once in a mastermind and I looked over my shoulder because he was on his laptop and he had one email in his inbox. I was like, oh my gosh, how is that even possible? I have like 3,000 emails in my inbox. And he said that every email that comes in, he does something with it. He either deletes it, he responds to it, he forwards it, or he does something with it. But he does something with every email that comes in. And his inbox was zero. Does anybody have zero in their inbox? I've never seen that before. I wish I could do that, but I don't. But it's a great habit. You know, every email that he said comes in, he does something with it. It never sits in his inbox. Now, that's a great strategy to do. And so when he sets aside his time for his email, he starts at a fresh inbox. So I thought that was a great strategy. Does anybody have a zero inbox? No, I don't know anybody. David says the zero that he has in his inbox is zero space for new mail. That sounds like me. You are. Wow, Janine, you said you set up weekends to set aside time to clean up all. You're almost at zero. I am very impressed. Very impressed. So I need to definitely do that because mine is not. Mine's more like David, zero space for new mail. So that's great. And I'm sure that anxiety or stress levels really decreases when you're like, oh, I have zero emails. But when I log in and I see, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 3,000 emails. It gives me anxiety, right? So it's definitely something that I personally need to work on, is cleaning up my email. And Janine, you are going to be one of my my inspiration. All right. The next one is pursue a passion. Now, this can be anything, right? So I'm sure that you have a passion to do something. You know how we were talking about disconnecting, like on the weekends you need to disconnect. When you disconnect, try to do something that you're passionate about, right? Try to do something that you're passionate about, or something that you really enjoy, something that brings you happiness, right? So maybe it's not, yeah, you're disconnecting, but you're just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I mean, does that make you happy? Is that your passion? If it does, if you enjoy it, like for example, my mom loves to watch the old British shows. So I got her a subscription to BritBox on Amazon, and that brings her joy. Like she loves these British shows and she watches it on Amazon Prime, and that makes her happy. But you know, and she also likes to go outside and do gardening. So she does that as well. And she finds time to do that because that's her passion. So out of curiosity, what are your passions? Right, David, I know you do cycling. That is hard, David. I know it's not the same, but I did a spin class. And I almost, geez, I was like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. It was so hard. But I commend you for doing that cycling. That's a workout. That is a workout. Anybody else? What? Yeah, spin classes are hard. Janine, camping. Oh, I love that. So, we have I don't know if you guys know this, but I live in Jamaica and I'm frequently in Florida as well. But in Jamaica, we actually have a cow farm. And so what we've done, and the kids love it there. So what we've done is that every weekend we try to make it, my husband goes out there a lot, he likes it, but we call it the bush because there's cows. We fairly recently got it. So we're still like cleaning the land and cutting down stuff and exploring it. So there's a lot to be done to it. But the kids love going out there because it's, outdoorsy. There's cows, there's goats, we've got all kinds of stuff, a river going through there. And so it's like an exploration and it brings them so much joy. And it brings me joy being there with them. Like I haven't, like the camping, the outdoors. The other last time that we were there, my daughter has a tent. We put up a tent and we were there just all day. We made a little makeshift fire and we were doing, making s'mores on the fire. Like that brings me joy. So I try to make sure that I fit that in. We're trying to do it every weekend, just for a little bit of time to go out to the bush and, hang out with the cows or just walk around, see what we can do out there. We got fruit trees and things like that. So, that's something that brings me joy, and it brings me joy because it also brings my kids joy. So find something that makes you smile, right? And put that into your schedule. Like put that into your schedule. Sometimes even though you may not want to put it on the calendar, like make sure that you do it. Make sure that you do it. Okay? What other passions do you guys have? Anybody else have any other passions? What other passions do you have? Yes, David, come visit. But nobody else has any passions? Okay, gardening. All right, good. All right, walking. You like to walk. Okay, walking is great. I enjoy walking as well. I love to explore and see things that are happening. All right, so try to pursue a passion. The next one, I thought this one is interesting, is taking a 30-day challenge. Oh, Julie likes to read a good book. That's excellent. Yeah, reading a good book. The next one is take a 30-day challenge. Now, I liked this one because when you do challenges, it keeps you focused. A lot of times, though, I have a problem sometimes fulfilling the entire 30 days. And so that's my challenge, is finishing the challenge. But doing challenges really help you get things done. But giving yourself a challenge, something to stick to, is a great way to be more productive and to get things done. If you have any other challenges that you can do that can help you grow your business, definitely do that, or just a challenge personally as well. Let's see. Oh, Janine says she is in an Amazon ad challenge. Excellent. I knew you were in a challenge, David. I knew it. You said you're on a challenge, walking to cycling 60 days to 50 miles. Wow, to get fit again. Congratulations. Now, did you just start it? Are you just starting this challenge? How far are you in it? And have you stuck to it? And Janine, you said you're in the Amazon ad challenge. Has it been a long challenge? Are you doing it actively? Are you sticking with it? Is it going well? Yes? All right. I guess you guys are writing it in. Good, good. All right. So definitely take some type of challenge. It'll really help you. So she said, so Janine, you're 30 days. It's not easy, but doing okay. So please stick with it. Please stick with it, because after the 30 days, you will be very excited on what you've accomplished. David says, compared to my cycling challenge, the exercise bite is sitting there. The challenge is to use it. But you're halfway, moving from the walking stage and now going to the cycling for a single 50-minute ride. Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. Well, I commend you, and I hope both of you complete your challenges. Now, the last one is interesting. It says, listen, really listen. Now, the reason why this one is in here is because a lot of times when you are having a conversation with somebody or you're going through a training like this, a lot of times you're not fully listening, right? You may be listening to the things in your head instead of listening to what the person is talking about, right? So you're distracted. You're thinking about an email, you're thinking about a project, but you're not truly listening. And when you're not truly listening, that means that you're missing something, right? So first of all, it doesn't do well for relationships, right? If you're trying to build any kind of relationship and the person's talking to you and you're not paying attention, first of all, that's not good. But you're also missing out on whatever you're supposed to be listening to. So therefore, it's going to take you extra time to do whatever you're supposed to be listening because you weren't listening, right? So, sometimes when I'm talking to my daughter, she'll say, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I'll say, you don't even know what I said. You were not listening. And she can't repeat it, right? So how's she going to do it if she wasn't listening, right? So make sure to listen, really listen. It says most people listen to reply instead of listening to understand. Yes. ADD, yes, happens in conversations as well. So, one thing that I learned with one of my bosses, so remember, you have good experiences from work and some bad experiences. But there's this one boss that I had, and I told him this. He's the best boss I ever had. This is when I worked at a golf course. I don't know if you guys knew, but I did play golf professionally, and I taught golf as well. And so I was working at a country club. I was one of the assistant pros. Anyway, my boss, every time I would come to him with an idea or something, or to talk to him, he would stop everything that he was doing. If he was on the computer, if he was, doing something, he stopped everything, and he always gave me his full undivided attention. And I wasn't used to that. I've never had anybody just only listen to me straight, and I told him that. I said, that really changed me. And I realized how much it meant to me, first, that you were giving me all of your attention. And we were able to have a very fruitful conversation because he was completely listening, and there was no repeating of things. So yeah, so Julie says, you feel more valued when you're listened to. I felt so valued, and I remember that, and now I make sure that I do that because I experienced it with him. And I told him that, I said, I really learned that from you, is that when you're talking to somebody, to make sure to give them your attention. So you feel very valued. It strengthens your relationships, and whatever you're supposed to listen to, you get it the first time, and you don't have to repeat it. All right, so listen to when you're having conversations with people. If you're going through any kind of training, listen, really listen. Okay, so I hope that all of you, those are my 20 tips for being more productive and getting more things out of the day. I think these tips are very valuable, and I really hope that you take them and help you build your business, build your relationships, just make your life and your day a little bit smoother, less stressful, less anxiety, and more enjoyable, right? So does anybody have any questions? Did you enjoy this session? Yes, good. Thank you, Annie. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was very beneficial. Now, the key is that this is recorded, and we're definitely going to share it with you, but I want to make sure that there's something in there. There was 20 things that we talked about. So out of these 20 things, please implement some, right? Please implement some. There's got to be some that really touched you, that really thought, oh, that's really going to help me. That's really going to help me. And I want to see and make sure that you implement it. That's the key. This, once again, means nothing if you don't do it, if you don't implement it. It's going to help you in your life and in your business, right? So take any of these 20 that we talked about today, and I hope to see that you implement them. Okay? And good. So Julie said areas that I need to improve. Will we have a PDF? Oh, great. Yes, I will. That will definitely be beneficial. Yes, we'll create a PDF with this as well. And remember, David wants me to remind you that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, right? Great words to live by. All right, everybody, you take care and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks again for joining, and thank you for participating as well. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, I forgot. I just pulled this up. I forgot that we are having a special webinar on Tuesday. This is with one of our friends, Dan. He is like a crypto master wizard. I was on a session with him. It was about 2 hours long, and he was just walking us through all these different things that have to do with crypto, this bot that he used, like all this cool stuff, was showing him how he was making money and how other people that he was working with was making money. Anyway, he is the most knowledgeable man I know when it comes to crypto. And he is doing a special session for us. And we're also doing it with Brian Anderson. You guys have, many of you know him, but he's one of our colleagues in the internet marketing, and he's doing it. And he actually was getting all the stuff that Dan was teaching. He actually went and did it himself. And he just did it last night. We have text messages going back and forth. And he's like, whoa, I'm up $12. It was like within a matter, I think overnight. He did it at night, woke up in the morning, and he was up $12 or something. I have the text messages going back and forth. But Brian is actually, implementing all the stuff that he learned from that session that we did with Dan. And anyway, Dan is now has a webinar teaching you all his mastery when it comes to crypto. So if you are anyway interested in crypto, thinking about investing, or want to just learn more, see how other people are doing it, learning how to learning the ins and outs and how to do it, will sign up. So of course, there is going to be an offer at the end for you to join and learn from him, but it's a very educational training. So if you're curious to learn more about crypto, how it all works, and that kind of stuff, it's really good to know. It is hot right now, and there's money to be made in it. So if you have any interest at all, just go to that link, alicialittle.com/theplan, and you will see that you can register for the training. And it's going to be on Tuesday, July 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So once again, sorry, I forgot I was going to mention this at the beginning, but I want you to join us on Tuesday, July 20th at 3 p.m. for this special session that we have with Dan Hollings, teaching you everything you want to know about crypto. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's Learning Tube session, and we hope to see you on Tuesday with the crypto, and then we will see you on the next